Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. This is the Mathews V3 27. So this is new, I think, for 2020. It's 27 inches from axle to axle. You use modules to change the draw length. So at the moment this has a module B on it, which is the second biggest at 29. You can change the modules without a bow press, a couple of screws, and they come off. You also change the modules on this bow to change the poundage. So the module actually has 70 pound on the module, so this makes this bow a 70 pound bow. If you want to make it a 60 pound bow, you buy the B module with 60 pounds. Now that system makes it hard for shops because it means every Mathews bow you need to stock the range of modules for it that you think will sell. Now some would say that's better than buying a whole bunch of bows. Look, I'm just saying what it is. My thing is, let's say the 27 inches, to me this is a hard selling bow, a short bow. It's harder to sell. So let's say you would sell 4 of these a year, it depends on your shop. Then what are you going to do with all the modules left over? It makes it a lot harder to sell than a bow with rotating modules where one bow fits everybody. That's my view. These little things here, they fit in the bow press to hold the bow in place, so the fingers sort of clamp onto those. They also stop the limbs from splitting if you dry fire your bow. The grooves here in the cams are wide. The idea of this is if you torque the bow, it stops the string jumping out of the cams. Now one of my customers rings up a lot. He's an older guy, I'm going to say he's older. He brought one of these bows on advice from another shop, said this is the bow to buy. I would not recommend a shorter bow for someone starting off in archery. This is not a bow I recommend. Now I haven't shot this bow, I haven't pulled this bow back yet, but I'm not recommending any short bows for someone starting off in archery. So the customer rings up and he said, look, I brought this bow because the shop told me to buy it. Is his first bow. He's derailed the bow 3 times and he's had to buy new cams for it 3 times, new strings, and he's ringing up like, why is this occurring? Look, he's a new archer. The bow's probably too heavy for him, and he'd be grabbing the bow like that, knuckles straight down, and torquing the bow on the shop. And because this bow is short, everything's magnified. So this would not be a bow I'm recommending for a beginner archer. Shorter bows are for people who are looking for a compact hunting bow, tree stand, bow fishing, someone who shoots in blinds. That's the type of person who's probably going to want a 27 inch bow. Now the specs on this bow. It's claimed to be 342 feet per second. It's claimed to be 4.2 pounds. I measured this bow on a bow scale. This is with the bow stand on the bottom, with the whisker biscuit and the sight and the 2-piece quiver, and it weighed in at 6.3 pounds. So first thing, the 2-piece, the bow quiver, the bow stand down the bottom, I think is awesome. I think it's one of the best bow stands on the market. It's just brilliant. It's expensive, but it's brilliant. Mathews changed the position of this cable guard down here. They angled it. The old ones used to be straight, which is a bit weird. Some bow companies allow the cable guards to be moved in or out for adjustment. Mathews don't allow that. You don't have multiple sight positions. You have one Allen key lock for the bow. The 2-piece quiver. This is a Mathews 2-piece quiver. It locks in. I really like 2-piece quivers for hunting. This locks in. They are expensive, but they are good. They sort of lock in place. You can't move them. Really, really nice. The 27 comes in a whole bunch of different colors. This is obviously the stone. Look, it's a nice looking bow. The limb pockets are all metal. It looks nice. Now, to shim the cams. The old Mathews, I'm not sure if this is the case with these ones, used to use a top hat system, which was unique for each bow Mathews produced, and allowed you to shim the bows left to right. So you had to buy the top hat system for the Mathews that you're shooting. It looks to me these are just a normal spacer, a little plastic spacer, I don't know. It is what it is. They have these little monkey tails on the ends here. These will break off and fatigue with time. A yoke system to pull it even. The yoke system's a bit of a pain, so to replace the strings on this bow you need to take these cams off, where other bows they just allow you to sort of clip them in place. So it's going to take more time to work on a Mathews than a normal bow. So just bear in mind, if you're taking your Mathews to a shop or you want the bow to be worked on, they've got to take the cams off to fit the strings. It's probably going to add an extra 15-20 minutes to fit a set of strings to the bow. So allow an extra $20 for a shop to do that. Now this sort of cam system, that big cams, Mathews have had these cams on the market for quite a while, since they went to a twin cam from a single cam. They're quite big. They should be, I'm going to say they should be quite smooth. I used to shoot a Mathews and it was quite smooth. This should be quite quick. These little holes here are timing marks. You can see it going straight through the middle there of the string, and the bottom kind of going straight through the bottom there of the string. Now, I brought this bow secondhand from a customer who never actually shot the bow. He was a new person to archery, brought the bow, brought the sight, brought the quiver, brought everything, never actually shot the bow. Now, I'm going to say, if you're new to archery, this is not the bow to buy. And again, I haven't shot this bow. So before I'm doing this review, I'm saying this is not the bow to buy for a beginner. For a beginner, you want a bow that's easy to shoot, adjustable, and maybe less expensive. This is a top of the range bow. It's probably going to retail for around $1,800. I think in America it retails for around $1,200. That's US dollars. 1,800 is Australian dollars. Might be 16, whatever it is. If you're starting off in archery, start with something cheap. Start with something adjustable, so you can work out what draw length you are, so you can work out what poundage you are. This bow won't have a lot of poundage adjustment. I've wound it down to 60 pounds. That's probably as far down as this bow will go. So that's at 60 just there. So I think it was 4 turns out. So start with a bow that, you know, has some weight adjustment. Start with a bow that's a bit longer axle, so it's easy to shoot. So first off all, the balance of the bow, quite top heavy. Like, look at that. Most bows will just sort of sit. Now I'm not sure if that's because it's got the sight on, but it's quite top heavy. The grip is very unique. Now Mathews have always had a unique grip. It's very rounded here. They've changed it up here a bit, but it's a very round grip. It's rounder than the rest of the bow companies. So Hoyt have got quite a narrow grip. This feels very narrow, and it's very rounded. You'll find a lot of people who shoot Mathews bows will replace their grips with like an Ultra View grip or some other company grip, because they don't like the feel of the grip. Obviously the engineers of Mathews like their grips. I haven't shot this grip yet. I shot a Mathews Chill. I didn't mind the grip, but I think it's a preference choice thing. Most companies have a very similar grip. They're kind of flat, kind of square. Width is a little bit different from bow company to bow company, but they're very, very similar. The Mathews grip is very unique. So just bear that in mind when you sort of buy the bow. Alright, let's have a shot and see how it feels. Again, I haven't tried the draw cycle on this bow. I find it interesting if a person buys a bow and doesn't actually shoot it, but alright, so with the Mathews bow stand, you can leave it on when you're shooting. It's clearly the best bow stand on the market. I don't even think there's a need to debate that point. So let's try the draw. So this is 29 inches, 60 pound. Right, about this, it starts off pretty smooth, and it's really building. Like when I got to that point there, so it felt really heavy. Now that could be because I'm not used to the draw cycle. I've never drawn this bow back. So I always struggle with the bow to start with because I don't know what it's going to be like. I shoot 60 pounds all the time for target archery. That's my standard poundage bow. Every test I do is with a 60 pound bow. This feels heavy. There. Now I feel like it's going to drop. Oh, it's not a bad drop off. We're going to take this shot. Oh. So, start off with, it's 303 feet per second. That's with a a gold tip velocity. 327 grain arrow. 303 is not particularly fast, but it's not bad. So I don't think it's 340 something feet per second, but the valley doesn't drop off. It's not like I was expecting to go. It's remind me very much of the chill. So if you shot a chill, it was quite a big valley. It felt quite big. So there's the peak, and now it's dropping into a valley. Dropping there. You get back here and it's a very solid wall. But when you shoot it, there's no vibration at all. Now that was a velocity. That was a Victory VAP arrow, 350 spine, 140 grain point, weighs 390 grains, and shot 277. When you shoot this bow, it's very, very silent. Completely dead in the hand. Very nice bow to shoot. Now, if you look where this peep sight is, so the first problem, I tuck these fingers into my jaw here. So I'm locking into this jawline here with these fingers. Now, I'm locking these fingers in, and this peep sight is miles too low for me. So see here, the serving actually stops here, so you can't actually move it up any further. Well, you can move it up a smidge, but not enough. So for me to shoot the 27, I need the peep sight probably up here. We're going to try and shoot. We're going to try and shoot this bow with this peep sight setting, because obviously that's as high as you can get the peep sight without cutting the speed loops off and the heat shrink off. So let's try and get my hand in. Now, if you're shooting a wrist, you're probably going to get it in, because with a wrist you generally be up higher than you are with a handheld back thumb back tension release. When you use a back tension or thumb, you're locking these two fingers into your jawline along here. When you shoot a wrist, you tend to be in the back area here, more towards your ear, so you tend to be up higher. So this bow is probably going to be more suited to a wrist shooter, or you're going to probably find you're going to cut some serving off here to shoot it. Either way, I find it a bit weird, because I would have thought it'd be pretty standard your position here. Now with the shorter bow, the distance from the arrow to the peep is greater than a longer bow. Does that make sense? Because you've got a more acute angle, so therefore this is further up the string. So I think normally I'm about 6.5 inches up from the knocking point to my peep sight. With this bow, it'll be fractionally more. See, so if I go up here, then I'm locking my fist into my ear. Now, I'm going to say the grip is not feeling comfortable to me. Like, it's okay, and I think I'll shoot okay with it, because it's so rounded through here. It's got a texture on it, so your hand kind of grips. Some of the other bows are not a rubber grip, they're a metal grip, so your hand will slip if you're sweaty, if you've got sweaty hands. This feels rubberized grip, and it's textured, so your hand sort of locks into place. It's not like it's uncomfortable to me, but it's not familiar to me, so I'm going to say, if I was to buy this bow, I'd probably try some of the other grips on the market. The shot, you can see I'm drawing the bow back a lot easier now, so the 60 is not an issue at all. Basically I'm pulling back quicker through that peak cycle, so it's not straining so much in my muscles. When I get it back there, the valley's nice and long, it just locks into place, it feels really good. The shot itself is completely dead. It's got to be one of the best bows as far as shot sequence, as far as when the arrow goes off and hits the target, there's little noise, there's little vibration. Look, I don't know if it's the best, but it's clearly among one of the best bows in the shot. When you physically shoot the shot, it's clearly one of the best made. And I've obviously done reviews where the bows are being very good. I need to shoot this one up against them to see which one's better, but this is clearly one of the best bows I've ever shot as far as shooting the arrow. It's silent, no vibration, and like the bow just sits there in the shot afterwards, which is quite surprising because the bow's not that well balanced in the hand. It wants to jump, it wants to lean forward, which is a bit weird, because normally you'd fit this bow with a hunting stabilizer on the front. This bow to me wouldn't be suitable just for a front stabilizer, because then you're going to need a back stabilizer to balance it up. It's a bit interesting. But look, the bow just feels like it just sits there in the shot. That's because I'm pushing downwards, so it's kind of balancing the bow. Okay, so for a beginner, one of the problems is going to be this peep sight is too low, so it's going to need to be higher. Normally I shoot the videos, the reviews without a peep sight, with the basic sight. We're going to do this one with this peep sight because this is how the bow came set up. I'm going to take this bow back to 18 meters and see how well I shoot with it. Okay, so I'm back at 18. I've sighted the bow in. How do I think I'm going to shoot? It's going to be interesting. Now, in the past, I have not shot short bows very well at all. I found the triax very hard to shoot, and I shot in Vegas with a guy who's shooting a triax with a hunting setup who shot amazing with it. So he was shooting, mid 290s with a hunting setup with a triax. I'm like, I struggled with that bow. I struggled with all bows. I shot the Gearhead 20 really well in my last review. Now, so when I draw this bow back, as I hit the peak, I notice this happens. So as I hit the peak, I get a bit of torque. So I'm guessing that's when the bow blows up for my friend, who rings me up and asks me questions all the time. Now when I'm back there at full draw, it feels pretty comfortable. I do get a little bit of this happening. There is a little bit of that. 6-inch brace height. I'm finding the grip, I'm going to say relatively comfortable. Look, it's not my favorite grip. It's not, but I think I'll be able to shoot quite well with it. I love this. Love the two-piece. The shot, like when you take the shot, it feels amazing. It's got to be the best. Like, I really need to shoot the Elite Envision again to see if that's better than this, because this is amazing to shoot. So let's see how well I group. One of the viewers said my anchor point, and I'm going to get his quite wrong, but he said my anchor point's crappy because I'm all over the place on my anchor point. Now this time I am all over the place because I'm locking in here. But if you can do it the same every time, it's okay. Like if you can lean back like Rio Wild does, and if you see one of the top American shooters at the moment who's winning lots of stuff, his string's back here, and James, is it James Yutz? I think. Sorry for getting his name wrong. But he says, look, I wasn't coached, I just shot, and he goes, I know my technique's not great, but he's clearly one of the best archers in the world. But I bet you he practices a lot. I bet you he shoots lots of arrows. Like, I bet you he puts lots of work in. So God, it feels good to shoot this bow. So my last customer today was a lady. She brought a bow. She said, look, I was a bit nervous about getting to the sport, going down there and looking silly when I shoot. So she was like, I was putting it off. So she came in, she brought a compound bow. She was a bit worried about hurting herself when she did it. We got her shooting, set it all up, and she was pretty confident up close, and she shot a fair few arrows and then went to lunch with a friend, right? So I'm going to say the most important thing is that people go and shoot and have fun. Everything else, how well you shoot and all that, to me is a secondary thing. Go and have fun and work on stuff and try and improve and enjoy the whole process. Like, I shoot because it just turns my brain off. I enjoy the whole process of just being outside when it's nice weather. Today's quite nice. It's relaxing, it's nice being in the sun. I don't enjoy it in the snow. I don't enjoy it shooting in the rain. I don't enjoy shooting in strong winds. That one was really interesting. So when I drew that one back, I got like heaps of movement as I was drawing it, and then it settled down, and then I'm aiming and my pin moved around a fair bit around the 10, and then it just settled. It's like it sat in the middle of the X and just sat there, and I took the shot, assume it went in the X, but it just settled. Very, very good. Look, I don't know if I Robin Hood or knock. Something came back and almost wiped out my poodle. He's in there wagging their tail in complete bliss, not knowing what's going on, but I think a knock just fired over her head. But this bow feels absolutely beautiful to shoot. Now, as I said, I shot the Triax before, and I struggled with it. This bow, look, I don't know if they're going in the X's. I feel like they're going in the X's. Like that, when I drew back that bow, I could see my sight moved around heaps, and I thought about my customer who derailed his bow 3 times, who destroyed his cams 3 times. And I was like, I know why, but when I'm back there and aiming, I'm like, woof. Now the customer who I brought this bow never shot it. Pretty. Well, that one might not be a 10. Wasn't a bad shot. I just got a little bit of this happening when I took the shot. The arrow went exactly where the pin was, but I got a little bit of left and right movement. Now, I was just thinking, Now, there's lots of companies who produce bows under 30 inches, and bows under 30 are extremely hard to sell for me in my store. And that's because they're generally harder bows to shoot. So often I won't buy a bow which is under 30 inches. If customers want to order them, then we order them in, you wait for them to come. But this feels amazing to shoot. It's really, like the draw's it's not the best draw. The elite, the PSE draw cycle, like far better. The Bowtech draw cycle, far better. But the physical shot, when you shoot the arrow, it feels like this is a 30-pound bow. It is so quiet, so dead in the hand. It just feels like a 30-pound bow to shoot. That wasn't a 10 either. It was released in the 10. I feel like I'm getting this up and down a little bit off. Like the peep sights everything was lined up. I'm not feeling comfortable with my anchor point being so high up my face. It just a little bit bugs me so much. But I love the way the bow feels to shoot. Now, two of my customers, they come in, shoot the bigger versions of these, and they love them. And I'm like, oh, it's just another bow, right? And the modules are a major downside, because if you want to try a different draw length, you've got to buy new modules. So one of my staff shoots a Mathews, and he's brought 4 modules for it just to see which one fits him. Like, I don't know if it's tried low let-offs or what, but he's had to buy 4 modules. So look, I'm getting a little bit of that. There's a little bit of wind around, but most of it's my hand locking into my face I'm not comfortable with. Now, I wasn't the Mathews. I was one of the Mathews distributors for Australia. I'm no longer the Mathews distributor for Mathews in Australia. I think that was taken off me without them telling me about it. So I'll tell you the story about that. And that wasn't bad. I feel like it probably went out to the right, because when I shot the shot, there was a little bit of left to right. So when I became the Mathews distributor, I had a sales rep, and I purchased $100,000 worth of Mathews stock up front. Now the problem was that it was a change of years, so a lot of the bows I purchased became outdated straight away. The other problem was one of the Mathews distributors in Australia was closing out all their stock because they were going out of business. So for basically 2 years, they were closing out all Mathews stuff at below cost. So there was no money to be made, and sales really sucked. Like, I sold stuff. Like, I probably sold more than anyone else. But you just, like, it made it really hard to sell it to shops, like wholesale the bows to shops, because the bow was being heavily discounted at below cost because the other person was going out of business. And the sales, when I say they were poor, like they were better than everything else, but they were far below what I would have expected. Now, in that time, I'm going to say Mathews produced a great product. I had very little problems with Mathews. When I did have a problem, they were fixed. Now, my big problem with Mathews was my sales rep left or was fired or whatever, right? So I get a new guy come in and probably didn't gel, like, because I wasn't his customer that he put on, so he had no connection to me to make me succeed. So it would have been, yeah, I'm guessing that's basically it. So normally you have a connection, like when a salesperson signs you, they've got interest in you succeeding because they get commission or whatever, just to show their boss that they made the right decision signing you. Within 2 weeks of this guy signing me and making the purchase, he was replaced, which was a bit of a bugger. But anyway, so I sold Mathews for a couple of years, and then Mathews gave one bow to a dealer in my state, sold them one bow. I rang them up and I went, I've got $70,000 of Mathews bows on my shelf and you supply him one bow. Like he's a Hoyt distributor, I'm a Mathews distributor, and you supply him one bow. Hoyt will not supply me one bow. They won't even supply me $100,000 worth of bows. And I'm like, and you'll supply him one. He's like, well, it's better that we sell one, isn't it? And I was like, I'm trying to build a network. I'm trying to get them into the shops. And your thing is like, you'll sell one bow to any shop who comes along, which is kind of interesting. But then when I asked for, and then they basically cut ties with me. So they don't respond to emails. So anyway, that's why I don't sell Mathews anymore. Now, just going to say, that feels pretty good. Just shoot one more. This is it, last arrow. Look, I'm really liking the way this bow feels. The modules are an issue because you need to stock the modules. If you had a distributor who has all the modules in stock, which I used to have, and I still got heaps of modules from all the other Mathews, it's probably not too bad. But it is a major factor. Like if you buy a Mathews and you don't have, or you want to sell a Mathews and you want to sell it to a guy and he's 28 and you're 29, he needs to source the module, which is a major problem. Look, so that shot there was no wind, I was getting no movement. So in the wind I'm getting a little bit of this movement. I'm guessing this is, a bit hard for me to see the module. This is an 85% let off module, so a higher let off. I'd probably get less that with a lower let off module, so if I was holding more weight, but it feels absolutely amazing to shoot. Let's go up there and see what the grip looks like. Well, look, that grip is amazing. Like, I am more than impressed with that grip. It's if I could shoot like that for my target bow, I'd be extremely happy. It's amazing. Like, really, I shot really well with the gear head. This is amazing. I just speechless, really. Like, yes, there's an 8 out to the side. I don't even worry about that. There's so many arrows in the middle, and there's the Robin Hood. The arrows are tight. It's for a short, fast, and I'm going to say the IBO speed is not what it's published at, but that's probably with a low let off module, and right. But just like an amazing bow to shoot. The grip doesn't worry me at all. And I do understand why people fit other grips to the bow, but I wouldn't. I would actually shoot that grip because I'm more than happy with it. I was more than happy with my Mathews Chill that I used to shoot. I think this is better. I think it's nice. I think the bow's solid. Now, I started this review saying I'm not recommending this bow to a beginner because it's under 30 inches. That stays. I do not change my opinion on that. This bow is easy to shoot, but the problem is if it's so short in that draw cycle, if you torque the bow, if you grip the bow and you find the bow heavy to draw, you are going to derail this thing, and don't be surprised if it's a derailing machine. Like, if you are having problems with derails, reduce the poundage, maybe reduce the draw length as well, because sometimes it's because the draw length is too long. The modules, again, I've mentioned this over and over again. If you're a beginner, modules are a pain because you don't know what size you are, and you can do this and you can do that and you can do the things to guess, but at the end of the day, it's feel. I'm a 29-inch draw length. This felt pretty good at 29. The major issue for me was that peep sight, where the serving is. If this was my bow, I feel like I want to cut the serving, cut some speed knocks off, and move the peep sight up about that much. That's a pain. But like one of the best bows, in my opinion, made. The price point's pretty good. The price point's pretty good. The quality of Mathews is excellent. As I understand, the supply chain is quite slow at the moment. Again, if you're a newbie into archery, I'd suggest a bow with bigger draw length, draw poundage range. If you're new to archery, I wouldn't suggest a 70-pound bow, maybe a 60-pound bow. You could argue that this bow is excellent because it's got modules, so you can buy the 60-pound modules for it and then go up to the 70-pound. It's better than changing limbs. Absolutely agree. I'm just going to say, if you're starting off, I prefer a bow with more adjustability. I don't recommend buying a top-of-the-range bow without the adjustment. To start with, just get shooting first, get everything solid, then buy your fancy bow, whatever make that is, whether it's a Mathews, Bowtech, PSE, or Elite, or whichever company you choose. Get shooting first. This bow is awesome. Awesome product. It doesn't feel that fast, but that is just awesome to shoot. Like, really, really nice. Now, Mathews does produce the V3 in a few different sizes, 31s, 33s, I think, maybe 34s. Look, I haven't shot the other ones, to be honest. Like, I think I might have shot one of my customers' bows, but it's at 70 pounds and he has lots of weights on it. And it shot perfectly fine, but like, this is just how I do a test with. I love the two-piece quivers. I love this stand thing. It's just like, that is awesome. I think all bows should have a stand like that. It's really a good product. Now, how does it rate compared to all the other bows on the market, from PSE, Bowtech, Elite? Now, Elite and Bowtech have got some unique technology. You know, Bowtech's got that whole cam thing, different grips you can plug in. Elite's got the whole limb. You can tilt the limbs. Got a cable stop. You got a limb stop, which is pretty amazing, I think. So they've got Bowtech and Elite have got a bit of technology which is a bit unique to them. But just on the shootability. Now, PSE have obviously got a nice product and it's rock solid, and Bear's got a nice product. Look, everyone's got a nice product, right? All the top of the line bows are good. This Mathews is one of the best bows you can physically shoot. As far as when you shoot that shot, it feels Feels fantastic. I'm going to say, as far as the draw cycle, it's not one of the best. I'm going to say the Bowtech and the Elite's better. I'm going to say the PSE's better in the draw cycle. The valley where it drops off is very good. The wall is very solid. So I don't know how I love the shot. Love the shot. I rate the shot sequence, shooting the shot, 10 out of 10. Brilliant. The draw cycle, I'm going to rate it probably a 7 out of 10. It's not like it's bad. It's not bad. It's good. But the other bows, the PSEs, the Elites, the Bowtechs, are just so incredibly smooth these days. It's like everyone's sitting in a bench and everyone's just jumping and they can't get any better. And I feel that's where this Mathews is. The draw cycle is excellent. I'm going to say probably the grip is not... If I had to choose between the PSE grip, the Elite grip, the Bowtech grip, and the Mathews grip, I'm going to say I'm probably going to choose one of the other four. But on the shot sequence, this could be the best of the four. And the results are amazing. Amazing for a 27-inch bow. I'm going to say it's probably not as good. It's weird. I'm going to say it's not as good to aim as the other bows. But then there's points there where it just settled and it just sat in the 10 and it was just like, it didn't move. It was incredible. Where normally I like do this sort of thing around the 10. Where this just sort of sat there in the 10. But sometimes it did move. Part of that will be the 85% let off. Part of that will be the wind. But an amazing bow to shoot. I feel like I'm saying that in every review I shoot. But guess what I'm going to do a review next where I'm not going to say that. Because I've actually shot the bow before I've done this review. So I'm going to do the review. I think the bow's amazing. The next review I do, I think the bow's amazing. But I wasn't impressed with the actual shot after the shot. And I normally do this review fresh, but this time I actually had to shoot the bow because a customer walked in the shop and wanted to have a shot. So anyway, the next review I won't be as impressed. This amazing, the Mathews V3 27, and I'm going to bet the V31s and 33s or 34s are just as amazing and probably easier to shoot than the 27. But the 27, like, that group, the way it's shot, completely surprised me. An amazing product. So, going back to this bow, I brought this bow secondhand off the guy, and he said, look, I paid this much for it. What will you give me for it? I've got all this stuff on it. I've spent a heap of money on it. What will you give me? And my thing, I said, you're best to sell it yourself on one of the swap and sell websites. Because you'll probably get decent money. The problem with me selling it, if a customer buys it and dry fires it, derails it, they'll go, I want my money back, the bow was faulty. And I've got a problem being a shop that they'll just go to the credit card company or PayPal and say the bow was faulty, I want my money back. Even though the bow was second hand, even though I've just done a video and showed you this bow shoots, no problem with it, they will probably win that case. They'll probably win the argument that the bow was faulty. And I will lose all my money. And I said this to him. And anyway, we came up with a price that is a risk thing. But I'm going to tell you that the risk of this bow being derailed and dry fired is huge. So I think this bow will be derailed when I sell this bow. I think I've almost got a 90% chance this bow would be dry fired and derailed because of the axle size of the bow. Because of the way the guy will hold the grip, he'll hold it like that, pull it back and break the thing. And then the bow was faulty, even though I've got a video showing this bow being shot. Even though I tell you you'll probably dry fire the bow and derail the bow when you get it, you'll still put a claim on PayPal or credit card company and say the bow was faulty when you brought it. And for me, it's a huge risk. It's a huge, huge risk. And now that still applies with buying this bow secondhand, direct from a customer to the other person. So if you go to sell a secondhand bow to another person, the same stuff applies. If they blow up the bow, they can say that bow was faulty, I'm getting my money back on PayPal from them. So bear that in mind. It's a huge risk of selling a secondhand product. And it was a risk I didn't really want to take. So I brought the bow cheap and had never been shot because he goes, I don't want to deal with customers. And I don't really want to sell this bow online because I am worried the person will derail it and dry fire it and then want to claim against it. And the bow is amazing to shoot. Amazing. Nothing wrong with this bow. But that's what scares me. Am I being paranoid about it? Maybe, but like the percentage chance this bow will be returned, I think is almost 100%. So then I'm like, well, if the person comes in the shop and then shoots it, and I explain all this stuff to them, and they shoot it in the shop, and they sit there and shoot 20 or 30 arrows with it, I've decreased my percentage of this bow being blown up. So just bear that in mind. So with that, I'll leave you. The Mathews V3 27. I think it's beautiful. I think Mathews have increased the paintwork, the finish, far better. Mathews have done a beautiful job on this bow. It's an amazing bow. Peep sights, I would like this up here a little bit more, but like a beautiful product. Anyway, I'm Stephen Hand. Thanks for watching. Bye.